In my last video, I've been testing Mijello Mission Titanium Class Gouache with a simple painting and a chromatic wheel and some swatches, and everything was fine. Now I want to put that to test with an actual portrait, and things are going extremely well until the very end of it. So stay tuned for that. I have this left over on my palette. I don't want to lose it. And I also have a lot of paint on my brushes. And the last thing I used was this palette with a warm primary palette. And I want to make this guy as a portrait. I already have a background which is acrylic blue paint that I have squeezed with a wedge to get this nice soft texture. I have my reference image here and I have traced my map so I know where to paint my elements. And let's go and use what I have here. My goal would be not to squeeze any more paint, but to use what I have. My paint is not, it's moving on the paint, I mean. The paper is not drinking it because the paper is filled with acrylic paint. And as I used a pretty liquid paint at first, this is giving me some interesting vibes here. So that makes a lot to think at the same time because I have to deal with a slippery background, not sleepy, with a new paint that I don't really master yet. And also a palette that is pretty all over the place. Usually I would go with something a bit different. And also I have to deal with a very strong blue background. So wish me luck, maybe it will be a fail at the end, but I want to challenge myself. Well, I like the effect you get when it's blending with another color under. You see here, it's very liquid, so it's bleeding into each other, making an effect that is, yes, maybe half gouache, half watercolor. Strange things are happening. Very strange things are happening. All right, I try to use what I have on my brushes, okay? So it doesn't really make sense to what I would do usually. Ha! This is a bit strong. Let's remove that and make some orange instead. It will be very colorful. I'm using pretty much every color I have in here. This is cool. I'm getting to somewhere. Not completely happy yet. Of course, this is the ugly stage, so don't bother too much. Let's make the eyes. Eyes are pretty dark. So my goal is not to squeeze any more paint, so I have to do with what I have. Well, I have to squeeze more paint, really. I cannot leave it the way it is. Well, I have squeezed a bit of Van Dyke brown because I had to, otherwise it would be weird. Now I have to define everything. I think as long as I don't have the moustache, it will be weird. Can you believe we are almost going out of the ugly stage? Not yet, not quite, but getting close to it. This is really not the way I would do a portrait with gouache, usually. but it's a test. It's a try. Maybe when you try new things, you discover new things. Well, I think I will go with a very small, thin white. What? No. Ah non. Non, pas ça. This is shiny. Can you see that? If I move it to the light, this is shiny. Let me compare that to another gouache portrait. It's fully matte. You have this velvety, nice look that I love. And this is a bit plasticky. I cannot say it, otherwise it's even a bit sticky. I really don't like that. This is a big no for me. Now that I see that, I have to look back at what I've used already with this gouache, and first with the palette. And you can tell if I move the palette to the light that this is a bit shiny. It's also a bit sticky, and that could be because they claim that it doesn't crack, and actually it does, here and there. So I don't know, they do have a good marketing company, but beside that, And here, if I look at my swatches, some are shiny, like the pink, the turquoise, and the yellow especially. And some are not. This one, yes. This one, not that much. And I wonder if this has something to do with the thickness of the paint, because some people claim it's because you add white to it, but actually when you add white, it's getting matte. Like here, they have white and it's getting matte. But also this red has a bit, but this one has not, and it's slightly thinner. And this is very visible in this one. The background is made in a watercolor style, so it is very thin. And if I tile the paper, it's perfectly matte in the background. The petals, though, are pretty shiny, especially in the dark color and not in the light. So this is what I suspect, is that this is shiny when it's thick without white. And this is especially visible in this portrait. Even if the white is less shiny than the rest, it still has a little plasticky finish to it. And this is strangely drying, I would say, because some parts are shiny, some are not. Almost like oil painting, because some colors are shiny and some are not. That's weird. So the brand claims that this is a hybrid between gouache and watercolor. I think it's more an hybrid between gouache and acrylic. So it's closer to an acrylic gouache, which is acrylic, not gouache, than a mix of watercolor and gouache, because this kind of background, I can do that with traditional gouache, no matter what. Maybe it will be less pigmented, but I'm not even sure of that. So I was happy with it in the first video, but now this plasticky finish is a big no for me. So I won't be using it again. And I won't test it in pans because I really hate this plasticky finish. So I have a bunch of tubes. If anyone is interested in, let me know. Send me a message and we'll figure out something. So maybe this is not an issue for you. Maybe you are not bothered with a shiny finish, and that's okay, perfectly okay. If you have no problem with that, This is a good gouache. It's mixing well, making a bit of strange things when you mix in liquid form, but yeah, interesting one. It's pretty affordable compared to other brands, at least in France, so I'll let you decide if you want to try it or not. So let me know in comments, are you bothered by the shiny finish? Thanks for watching, and YouTube thinks this is a good video for you.